The Pope and Young Club wants to welcome you as we rally together to ensure our bow hunting opportunities for today and tomorrow. You've come to the podcast that believes in preserving, protecting, and promoting the passion for bow hunting. Join us as we strive to be the voice of today's bow hunter. This is the Pope and Young Podcast.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pope and Young Podcast. I'm Jason Rounsaville, joined today with my co-host Dylan Ray, and we have straight out of convention. We have one of our top award winners this year from the Pope and Young convention down in Reno. We have Shellee Fulton with us. Shelly, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your first place finish with that, monster cat. I couldn't believe how big that thing was.
Oh, he's beautiful. He is a big one. Yep, he's a big one.
That was probably the most photographed animal at our entire convention.
Oh, for sure.
If you Google Pope and Young convention, everyone posted pictures, took a picture with that cat. Everybody. Yeah. It was insane. It was, you walk up there. I've spent a lot of time in the woods, and I've never thought twice about a cougar. I'm like, you know what? It's going to hurt, but ultimately I could take a cougar. Look at that thing.
And you see the muscles on this thing, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I want to be in the woods with that creature. He'll take you. So
look at that. It's up on your screen, Jason. Look at that thing.
I see that. That thing is massive. And the photo, I'm telling you right now, it does not do that cat justice, because when you see it in person, it's 2 levels bigger than what that picture looks like.
It's insane.
Oh yeah. Try to be holding a bow at 24 yards and seeing that thing up there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's great. So was that a BC cat?
That's a BC cat. Yep.
Wow.
Northern BC. Yeah.
So we'll do this. Shelly, tell us a little bit about you. You've got a great story, and we're going to get into that, but just give us a background for Shelly.
Yeah. So I grew up in the Seattle area and raised by a single mom, and rode horses and motorcycles, and worked on milk cows at dairy in dairy farms. And so I moved up to BC in 1997 and raised my kids. I married a Canadian, and we divorced pretty quickly, and I had a couple of kids. And so I have 3 kids and raised my kids as a single mom. So I lived in BC and raised my kids, and I've always had a passion for cabins and fur and food. And like I said, I grew up with horses and in the country. So I thought there's something missing. When my youngest was 15, and I just focused, just raising my kids. I didn't date. I've been single the whole time. And I just, I just focused on my kids and my horse and my career. And then when my daughter was 15, I thought, you know what, something is missing. If I ever meet someone, I want them to be a hunter. I thought that's something like on my list of, if you meet somebody, no and yes, I'm like, yes, hunter at the top. And then all of a sudden I thought, no, I'm this independent woman, and I'm going to be the hunter that I want. I'm going to make me. So in 2014, I got my hunting license and my gun permit, and I had to take these courses up in BC. And so my good friend that I ride horses with, he's a hunter, and I just said, I got my hunting license and I just want to hunt. So he said, perfect. So we set up a bear hunt, and ever since then, that's my passion. I found it. So
that's so amazing, because it's, for me, and we talked about this at convention. For me, I was in hunting camp. I was literally born in August. September, I'm in hunting camp. And it was like that for my whole life. I can't imagine a world without hunting. It's when I meet somebody on an airplane and they're like, oh, you hunt? And I'm like, you don't? It's foreign to me. And so all my friends hunt, a lot of them. And so I think I need to hunt. I mean, what was it that drew you to it? Had you seen it on TV? Had you had friends that did it?
Well, I think,
Where did
yeah,
it come from?
it can't, I don't know, like I pray, and I was like, I'm open to whatever. Like, I don't know. So I just was praying that, something in my life, there was something missing, and it's, my kids, I'm happy, everything's great. But I think growing up in the country and logging, dairy farm town, and, there were hunters out there, I didn't really think too much about it. But as I got older, and what's important, and it kind of goes along with my cabin and fur and food, and all of a sudden, yeah. And I really don't know. It's almost like it's in me. I always think if I was born before, I was a hunter, a trapper, something, because that's something that fills my soul. And now that I found it, now that I found it, there's no way. Like, this is my passion. It's like, thank you, God. You gave me, I feel like I raised my kids, did everything right. And here is your reward. You get your passion. And yeah. And I mean, I'm from Seattle area, so I didn't have any family up there. And it's just something I just did. And yeah, I had a couple friends, and they were hunters. And so that's, yeah. I'm lucky.
That's the just so you know, when somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm from Seattle," first thing I think is, "Oh, hunter, trapper, total outdoors person."
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's you don't think of a lot of dairy farms in Seattle, but
yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really respect that you came in from what you would call the outside, so to speak, and started hunting. And that was when we had a chance to visit. That was one of the things that really drew me, and I thought a lot people need to hear this story. And so, you look at some of our members. I mean, we have members who've been there for literally Harvey Eber's 60 years. And now to have somebody being recognized on, the biggest stage of bow hunting for a #1 cougar, to go from not hunting in 2013 to on, a major bow hunting stage in 21, that's a big swing. And so kudos to you for recognizing that, hey, this is something I want to do.
Yeah. I know. And that was my first, when I got my bow, 2017, I got my bow. A friend introduced me to it, and I was hooked. I'm like, this is great. So we were out hunting, and I had my bow, and there was a grouse, and he said, jump out. So at 30 yards, that was my first bow harvest. And my second was my cougar. So I have, also, so I have a bear that's going to be entered into the Pope and Young as well, a black bear.
Wow. Outstanding.
Yeah.
And so the grouse didn't make
no.
it?
30 yards, it was done. So I'm like, oh, that was pretty fun.
Nice. And so obviously you've embraced this, and you came down to Reno and enjoyed the convention. And I have to ask, I mean, when you talk to people about Pope and Young, there's I'll call it a misconception. It's actually kind of true, but completely not the way people think. What people think about Pope and Young is, oh, here's a bunch of rich, old, gray-haired white guys sitting around talking about bow hunting. And you would definitely not fit into that mold. So what was your experience, and how were you treated, and how did people respond to you at Pope and Young? Did you ever feel like you weren't included?
Oh, no, it was an amazing experience.
Everybody was asking to take a picture with the lion.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience.
What's funny is, and I got to notice it because I was sitting there running the camera or the computer right where your lion was sitting. And I heard so many people say, can we take a picture of you with your lion? And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, nobody can take a picture with my animals, but that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a great experience, and I went into the women had a campfire meeting, and around the campfire, that was wonderful. I just met incredibly wonderful people. Everybody welcomed me, and it was a wonderful experience. And from now on, if I'm not on that stage, I'm going to be volunteering.
That's great. And so so you didn't see, or you didn't feel at least, any of kind of what people talk about as exclusionary.
Not at all. Not at all. Nope. Just wonderful people, great stories. Yeah. Yeah. No, I felt welcomed, open arms. Like it's almost like a family already.
Good. Well, that's how we want it to be. And
yes,
when people talk about it, we want them to be able to come and enjoy convention and talk to their heroes and talk to their legends.
Yes.
And feel part of it and feel like, hey, this is your first convention, but you feel like you're part of it. And, anybody that, maybe didn't think you were part of it, you just say, well, number one, move on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it was a great experience.
Yeah,
I'm thankful.
So what's next up on your list? You've got the cougar, you've got the bear. What's next up on your list?
Well, I'm going to South Africa on Friday. So,
okay.
Yeah, I just went on May. So the end of May, I went and got a few animals. And so now I'm going back, and I'm not sure. I don't have a list of what I'm going to harvest. It's whatever presents itself. And yeah, so I'm leaving on Friday.
Wow. That's a pretty big trip. How exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. And I just went, like I said, I just got back in May. So it's my second. It's beautiful. It was an amazing trip. So I got another opportunity.
Hey, Dylan, how come we're not in Africa in May and in August?
Yeah.
Clearly, I need to apparently shoot a big cougar. Yeah. Apparently we need to shoot big cougars and get on the stage at Pope and Young. And I think even then I might not get that opportunity, but that's awesome. So exciting.
Yes. Yeah, it was exciting. And I went turkey hunting early May too. So I only had 4 days in between. I went to Nebraska with a friend that I met at an airport. Wonderful. His name is Mick Bennett. And we went turkey hunting, and I only had 4 days, and I was on my way that was my first time turkey hunting too. That was amazing. That was really fun. I'm hooked. And then 4 days later, I went to South Africa. So it was back-to-back hunting trips. It's like, oh, that's my life. It's perfect.
That's great.
That's
awesome. I like to hear that. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've only been over to Africa once, but I had an amazing time and can't wait to get back. I actually have been using COVID as a little bit of an excuse. I'm like, Africa was shut down. I couldn't go. And then you come in and just destroy that, because you're like, oh yeah, I've been twice, in the last 4 months.
It's just a COVID test.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
I can see your animals in the background there. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. It was a
beautiful
trip. And so Africa, you're going back to Africa. Where
going
else?
Back to Africa. And I have an archery hunt September, archery horseback hunt. So for elk.
Excellent.
So that's exciting.
That's very exciting. Elk is a lot of everybody has something they love. I mean, whitetail, they have a following like no other. And then a lot of people are like hunting the big mule deer, but you hear from a lot of people when we're talking to them that if they only could pick one, elk would be where it would be.
Yeah.
I think that was even Chuck Adams said that the other day.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. How far do you get to go in on horses?
I don't know all of the aspects of the hunt, but I will soon.
Okay. I grew up with horses, and so I always thought, oh, I'm a pretty good rider. And then not too many years ago, I just did a trail ride for like an hour. And after 1 hour on this horse, I was stretching and feeling so. I'm like, oh man, I'm not sure how much farther I could have gone.
Oh yeah.
It takes a little more than you realize if you haven't done it in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up with horses as well. And that's all we did was trail ride.
Yeah. So Africa, you've got North America stuff. Anything else out in the world that's just you're looking at and you're like, oh, you know what? I really need a red stag, or I really need to
That's
chase
it.
that. Do you have any
That's
of
a
those?
tar. I really want a tar.
Okay.
I have actually quite a few on my list. I also want to get an Alaska brown bear with my bow. So that's another thing.
Okay.
I've got a nice list.
Okay. A brown
Yeah.
bear with your bow. That's one, you know, that might be one that I just think about not wanting to be 30 yards from a creature that big.
Yeah, I don't know. I love bear hunting, and I got a 7-foot black bear 20 yards with my bow. There's something about predator hunting that really, I don't know. I think it's challenging to me with your bow. So to me, it's like, I don't know, something that will possibly kill you does something. It's exciting for me.
I'll tell you what, John Fossil, we had him on, and he actually did a seminar at convention about hunting dangerous game, and that he said there's just something about it. And so
there is something about it.
Yeah, John's definitely at a different level in his bow hunting expertise than where I'm sitting though. So maybe in a few more years I'll get there.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So now is your bear, we're gonna see your bear at convention in 23?
I don't, I think it just makes Pope and Young. It won't be at a convention, but yeah, it's still the taxidermist. It's going to be a full mount, and then I have a bear rug as well that's coming.
Okay.
So that's at the I've actually got quite a few animals at the taxidermy right now.
Very nice.
That's exciting.
Somebody's got to keep those guys working.
Yeah.
So I just got mine. I got an antelope back just not too long ago, and so I was excited to get that, and had it scored, and the score actually works for me, and it still didn't help me on my score. I'm like, hey, how do I get a few more inches on this thing, Tim? And he's like, yeah, there's nothing I can do. So,
go back and get another one.
That's exactly right. So that's I think that's 2 more weeks I'll be in Wyoming going for my next animal.
Oh, that's great. And just like my cougar too. I mean, I haven't when it was at the Boone and Crockett Awards, it just stayed at the Bass Pro there, the headquarters, and I haven't seen my cougar besides at the Pope and Young for 2 years, and so now it's on its way home, and I'm like, I can hardly wait.
I know we just got the update today, so they're expecting them by mid-August. I think everything's hopefully going to be out and ready for folks to start picking up.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So hopefully as soon as you're back from Africa, it'll be there.
Yeah. Perfect. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Are you doing South Africa or which country?
South Africa. Yep. South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. About 2 hours northwest of Johannesburg. So going to a safari there. It'll be exciting.
Now, is this the same place you went before? Or is this a different?
No, it's a different place. Yep. So I'm just gonna, I think there's about 2 on the list. So quickly hit 2 different safaris.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, when I went in May, I just had kudu on my mind. That was the only thing I wanted, but yeah, first day 2 down, and I'm like, it wasn't a kudu. And I'm like, oh boy, this list might get long.
Yeah.
But I did get my kudu.
Okay, good. I think that's the one when you talk about Africa, the kudu, the gray ghost, that seems to be at the top of the list because it's just it's the iconic Africa species, the spiral horn. So
that's and I wasn't like, because I already had 2 animals, and I thought, okay, that's it was just different for me, that way of hunting. But anyway, so I had an opportunity for the kudu. It was getting dark. It was about 350 yards, and it was quartering away, and 1 shot, and I'm like, wow. And it was a borrowed gun. Someone just said, do you have an opportunity? Because somebody else was going to harvest it, but it was getting too dark for them. They couldn't, their eyes weren't that great. So they said, if you want it, it's your opportunity. So there it was. That's with Africa. All of a sudden you'll get an opportunity if something presents itself.
Yeah. And so this time, are you taking your bow?
I'm not, no, because I'm not hunting with, that I was going to bring it the first time, but the people I'm hunting with aren't going to hunt with a bow. So it's pretty yeah, we're just going to get in and get out.
Okay. And
But
how many days do you get to go over there?
7 days.
Okay.
So it's a 7-day. Yeah.
I think you have to go for at least 7 days to make that 17-hour flight from Atlanta worth it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, that's a long time to be in an airplane.
Yeah. Yep, it was long. I think it took like 3 days because we had so many layovers, so many stops, connections, and it was about 3 days by the time and the time difference. So it was long.
Yeah,
long
sure
haul,
is.
but it was worth it.
It's worth it. Well, obviously, if you went in May and you're going back, it must have been worth it.
Yeah,
it's been a few years for me, and I'm still sitting here going, man, 17 hours is a long flight.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about that part.
That's great.
Just enjoy the ride.
That's great. So, so a little bit more, was there anything like when you started hunting, what else, was there anything else that you're like, hey, you know what? I need to try this.
Not really. I just, my first hunt was a black bear hunt, and I was with five fellows, they're guys. And, I was the only one that got a black bear. We were all black bear hunting. I also, it's funny too, because I was single, and then I went on that hunt, and I wanted someone to taxidermy. I wanted a rug. So then somebody got me in contact with this taxidermist up in Quesnel, and so we started dating, and I dated him for 3 years. So I learned also about taxidermy, skinning, caping out animals and turning the eyes, lips, all of that. So now I added that into my, just more that adds into my hunting process. Okay. And so, it was a great experience. I learned a lot.
So are you going to try that next? Are you going to mount your stuff yourself?
No, I'm not going that direction. But as far as now being able to take care of my own animals, and I have my trapping license, and so I've been trapping beaver, and so it's just opened. I just keep opening doors.
Yeah. Have you ever, I know in BC you can trap wolverines. Have you ever gotten one of those?
No, but I had a tag for one, but I didn't see any. Yeah. I went up north last November. I spent 17 days way up north in a wall tent. And we didn't see much game at all. Until like the last day we saw a couple caribou and at a season. So, but we saw lynx, a bobcat, but no big game. It was really strange. We had a buffalo draw, and moose, and that's where we're after, but we didn't see anything. But it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. Wow. That's and did you have was that a pretty cold hunt? A lot of snow, or? It
was cold. It was really cold. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I've got pictures on my Instagram and Facebook. It was cold, and I have a lynx that I wear around my neck, and I was all bundled up. It was cold. It was lots of snow.
Yeah, I know. When we had Chuck Adams on, he was talking about hunting buffalo, and that was one of his big accomplishments. And I'm trying to remember, Dylan, do you remember how far or how long he tracked that thing? It was days.
Yeah, it was a long time, and he said well into the negatives, but I don't remember how cold he said it got. But it was crazy.
Yeah, it's cold. It was probably, I think it was like minus 25. Even when I shot my cougar, it was like minus 28. It was cold. It was 4 feet deep of snow when I got my cougar. So
that's
when you're hunting up in BC up north, it's cold.
How do you even shoot a bow with enough clothes on to stay warm at that temperature?
It's funny because that picture, I can't even think right now. My picture of the cougar when I first shot it, I was looking, and there's 3 of us in the field photo, and I'm just look huge. And I'm like, my legs were huge. I'm like, I had like 15 shirts on, 10 pairs of pants. It was, and all of our batteries froze. The only way we had the field photo was an old flip phone that somebody had. All of our rangefinder, everything was frozen. And and since then I bought KUIU gear, and I'm not looking back. So now when I pack, it's just, I know what I'm wearing, and my super down, and no more 10 pants or 15 shirts. And I've got that down.
We
All right. Well, there's our
plugs now, Jason. There's our plug.
That's our shameless plug right there. Our very first corporate partner was KUIU. So here's a plug.
Oh, they make great gear.
Speaking of KUIU, we've had some incredible feedback on our new logo on the KUIU jackets. So if you haven't seen them, go check them out because they're awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's great logo.
We even sent a couple of those out. Just if people haven't seen it, right after convention, some of our folks went home and actually included Pope and Young in their engagement video. Was wearing a Pope and Young shirt, even mentioned Pope and Young. And so we were so inspired by this thing that we sent them some KUIU gear. You know, we're like, you know what? If you're going to do something that great and include us in it, then you know what? Next time you're out there, you should have some Pope and Young KUIU gear. So
perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I'm not sure what's next. What's going to be next, Dylan? Are we going to have like a Pope and Young
baby reveal?
Gender reveal. Yeah.
I actually want to be a part somehow of a birth. I promise you, if we're a part of your child's birth, that child will be a lifetime member. So if you can incorporate Pope into the birth of a child, we'll give that child a lifetime membership for sure.
So like if you birth a child like wearing a Pope and Young hat or just like you give birth and then you put a hat on. How exactly do you see that working, Dylan?
I don't know. But hey, listen, did you know?
That's great.
And they make it nearly impossible to do so. But if you have a baby on a Carnival cruise ship, they give you and that baby a free cruise every year for its lifetime. Now, again, it's nearly impossible because you got to be so far out from having the baby to even go on the cruise. And then if you do go into child labor, they bring a helicopter in and fly you out. But if by some chance you do, you get free cruises for life. And I'm like, we need to come up with something. Like if you, we'll come up with something, Jason, but that's in the works.
Come up with something.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I like it. I'm just,
or even if the dad is standing in the background, like in the photos, and he's wearing a Pope and Young shirt, giving thumbs up or something.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
I'm done having children, or I'd try.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Being creative. Yep. Marketing creative. Yep. Yeah. Perfect.
I mean, or what if the mom's wearing a Pope and Young hat?
Wow.
Is that allowed? Can you wear a hat in delivery room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can do whatever. Yeah.
Or
I think you can.
What if like the newborn pictures, like from the hospital, they custom ordered a Pope and Young onesie for the baby prior to, like that?
Wow. Be pretty neat.
That would.
Man, we started chasing rabbits with this one, but hey.
We did. Well, we'll back.
We got off in left field.
That's all right. That's what podcasts are good for.
That's right. Yeah. It was all the shameless KUIU plug. So thank you, Shelly, for that.
Thank you.
Yes. And, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the great clothes.
And they will love hearing that too. I don't have to wear 10 pairs of pants and 15 shirts anymore.
I just bring a small bundle now.
Yeah.
Throw it in my backpack.
And that's a nice place to be. And it's interesting. I know for some of my gear, I have a few pieces that I tend to always gravitate towards. No matter what, here's a piece I take, and even when you have 10 to choose from, I tend to gravitate towards the same ones each time.
Yeah, well, I'm happy because I always, when I'd be packing for a hunt, my bag was huge, and I've got all these different clothes, and now it's simple. Now I know exactly what I'm taking, and small little backpack, and I'm good.
Yeah. I used to always be so jealous because I'd go on these travel hunts, and I'm a pretty big guy, and so I'd be taking size 13 boots and 2X jackets and all this stuff, and then I'd look at somebody else, and it's like, wow, that must be nice. You got like size 6.5 boots and medium this, and you can pack in this much space instead
tiny
of
little
duffel bag.
They used to have I used to see a meme going around, and it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson carrying like an ungodly sized bag into like a hotel, and it says when you're going hunting in the Midwest, because it could be 90 one day and 10 the next. So you got to pack for everything, which is true.
Yeah. That's, fortunately I did that at which mountain archery festival was that, where we got up on the hill?
That was Beaver.
Yeah, in Utah. And that thing, we got up on the hill. It's 90 some degrees in the valley. You climb up to 10,000 feet and all of a sudden it's cold. So I was
that's
glad.
where that's where the super down comes in.
Yes. And I had my KUU jacket for that particular event, which Heather did steal and use for the entire time we were there.
Nice.
So Shelly, you've got Africa coming up on Friday. You've got your elk hunt. And
I've got a Nebraska whitetail deer in December.
What? Okay. And so there's a good chance you're going to be back on stage in a couple of years then.
I'm hoping.
That's good.
If I'm not there, I'll be there.
Okay. And it was,
if I'm not on stage, I'll be there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, here is one of, I have a bunch of convention stories that are just fun and just kind of something where you just scratch your head and say, did that really happen? But it did. And so I have to tell the story because this year we had Michael Waddell as our keynote speaker, and we were right up at the front by the stage and sitting at his table, which was truly great because he's just a really fun guy and just genuine.
Yes.
And
he
so,
sure is.
So after his talk and after that dinner was done Friday, I found a cell phone sitting on the front table. And, as you're supposed to do, the very first thing you do being a responsible cell phone finder is you hop up on the stage and grab the microphone and announce that you found a cell phone. Well, by the time I jumped on the stage, the microphone had been put away. So there wasn't one. And I didn't really want to yell across the room. So we did the very next most, respectable, responsible thing that you do with the cell phone is you check to see if it's unlocked and you start taking selfies. And so I think we got a picture of you and Michaela.
Yes.
I think the three of us grabbed a selfie and then we got in. And so we're literally taking selfies. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to make somebody's day because we're going to get a selfie of Michael Waddell on their cell phone. I'm like, this is going to be great. When you lose your phone, you start freaking out. And now all of a sudden they're going to get their phone back and they're literally going to have a selfie of the bone collector on their phone.
Oh gosh. And
so we're took a few selfies and all of a sudden we start looking and we're like, well, the phone's unlocked and I don't like to look through people's stuff. But somebody says, well, just look through it and, maybe call somebody to find out whose phone it is. And so as we're looking through, and keep in mind, we're literally at the front of the stage snapping selfies with Michael Waddell. And we look and it's actually his phone.
Well, remember he was saying, oh, somebody has an old phone like I do.
He's like, well, I was wondering who'd have a phone that's as old as mine. And anyway, what a great sport. It was, it was one of those things where it was going to make a great story. However, but this, I don't know that it could have been much better. Although,
no, that was funny.
If I'd have lost my phone, I think having a selfie with the bone collector would have been pretty cool.
That would have been pretty cool. Yeah. So that was funny.
We were trying to make somebody's day, and then instead I think it made my day. But I always have fun like that.
Yeah.
So what was
was funny.
If you had to pick one story, what was your favorite story from convention?
Oh boy. I don't know. There were just so many. So I talked to so many people. I don't know. I liked sitting around the campfire with the women. That was really entertaining and great stories. And it's great, the camaraderie and to listen to other women. That was a great experience.
Yeah.
And meeting Stacy Frost too. She was nice. She was great.
Oh, and she's a hunter. And so is,
yes.
At the women's campfire, you have Kathy Strecker and Annie Grace. They both made those amazing quilts
Yes.
Same thing with Miriam Jones. The artwork of those quilts is just,
Was amazing.
I can't even describe it. It's just,
Yeah.
That's just,
What a great group.
Those were truly
They
amazing.
were. And what a great group of women. Yeah. Just to go around that. Yeah.
And those ladies, you go to the shooting range, you go to the archery range with them, they'll take your money.
Yeah.
They're not just talking about it. They don't just talk about bow hunting. Not yet, but because I'm smart enough not to shoot with them. Yeah. Man, I'm not shooting with Kathy Strecker or Shelly.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
Very good. And so did you get a chance to look at some of the vendors and some of the outfitters? Did you find some good ones?
Yep. I stopped and talked to almost all of them. Yeah. Great stories. Okay. Made some great contacts, future hunting contacts. Good. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Good. Did you ride one of the bikes?
No, I did not. No, I didn't.
We had a try spot for Baku bikes, and you didn't jump on a bike and try it out?
I did not. No, I did not. Unfortunately, I don't know what I was doing.
I tried one out last year at the Mountain Archery Fest up in Idaho, and I'm not a bicycle guy at all, but those things are cool. And so
that was my story from convention. During setup, I talked Krista, one of our office workers, into riding the bike. So she takes off to the convention center, and I'm waiting. And I'm like, where is she at, dude? And like, she had to like ride the escalator down. She's in the lobby. She's on the casino floor. Like, she's tearing up the place. I'm like, what's taking so long? Well, then
she's making a taco run.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Then another gentleman, I won't name any names. Another gentleman comes around the corner on the bike with a security guard following him, and he says, "We got to put these up." And I'm like, well, we have permission to ride them. He's like, but only in that area. And I'm like, where did you go? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. So we put the bike up and went on with life. But no, they're fun to ride, man.
And who was it that you're not going to tell us it was?
It was a board member. I'll say that.
Okay. All right. Which one?
We'll save that for off air.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's funny. Yeah. They look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were sure excited to have those guys on board, and it was really interesting this year because with the changes, and even in at the end of January is when we finally decided that, hey, we're moving from April to July, and that was tough because we had a couple, some of our vendors are like, oh, July works out so much better for me, but then we had some other ones that just couldn't make it work. They had prior commitments. So it was very interesting, but I really enjoyed the space. The Nugget was good to work with. And I'm really looking forward to going back there in 23. I think we have a really good idea of how to run that program. And I think the setup next time will be even better. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Is it going to be the same place?
Same place.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was nice.
They were just, the Nugget was so good. When we started talking about, just taking a step back farther in Virginia, this is when COVID first hit. We literally canceled Virginia 2 weeks out. And we were looking at that. And when we were talking to the hotel there, the Marriott was just, we said, hey, your governor declared a state of emergency. How can we hold an event? They're like, contract is a contract. And we're like, wow. Really? And they were holding our feet to the fire. And I'm a guy, I like to work with people. And I said, hey, what can we do? Can we, push this back? What option do we have? And they're like, well, if you pay us your full amount, we'll give you half credit for next time.
Oh my gosh.
And so anyway, obviously there were a lot of conference calls on that. And then this year, with the Nugget, when we started looking at not being able to hold the event we needed to hold in April and moving it into July, they're like, hey, what do you need? How can we help you? How can we make this work? what kind of, what would work for you. And they just jumped in with both feet. I mean, total cannonballed into our side of the pool and helped us
Wow.
in every way. They said, hey, here's the deal. When it comes to rooms, use the rooms you use. If you don't use them, just don't worry about the guarantee. Same thing with food. Use whatever food you need. And if if you don't meet the minimums that we had set, when we signed a contract 4 years earlier, then they're like, hey, and so they treated us so good that we thought, what, this is the kind of partner we want. And that's why we're going back in 21. Usually
Definitely.
we move, but the Nugget was so good. We had to go back there.
Yeah, that was a good venue. That was a great venue.
Yeah, no, we're excited about it. Shelly, one of the things that we ask every guest on this show
This
is
question is brought to you by Uncrustables.
Okay, so thank you, Uncrustables, for sponsoring the "What's in Your Pack" section. So, what is one thing? And I may know what she's gonna say, Dylan.
Oh no!
When you're getting ready for a hunt, when you're packing, what is one thing that you take with you that's maybe a non-traditional item that you just can't live without on the mountain or out in the woods?
Well, a Band-Aid. I have to have Band-Aids for my heels. I get blisters. So
okay.
Yeah.
I would have
that new skin or whatever. Oh, and lipstick for some reason.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll accept Band-Aids. Dylan, we're going to have to go to the judges on lipstick. Can we accept lipstick as an answer?
I think
I'm like, hey, what do I know? I've never had a number one cougar recognized at a convention. So you know what? If a number one says I take lipstick.
Yeah. Oh boy, that doesn't sound like a hunter, but if you know me,
hey,
that's me.
I would say you are every bit a hunter. So Dylan, go ahead and put lipstick on the list.
Let's just
that's probably the first time you've heard that.
Let's just hope that at some point down the line, no lines get crossed. And I look back and I'm like, wait, why did Chuck Adams say lipstick? And I'm like, oh, wrong line. I'd switch those around.
It could happen.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it could happen. You just never know.
Never know.
Lipstick's a new one. I think on the topic of Band-Aids, I think Band-Aids are more. I think that needs next time. And Dylan, mark this down. Next time we need Band-Aid as an official convention sponsor.
Perfect.
Not only because Shelly takes them in her pack for hunting, because I walked into the staff room. We had a kind of a workroom upstairs with some snacks and stuff. And I walked into that staff room one time, and a couple of the gals had been on their feet for, like, at this point in time, 4 or 5 days straight. And there was a mound of Band-Aid wrappers, like, I mean, huge. I couldn't believe it. And it was from all the blisters from being on their feet.
Yeah.
So we should get them as a sponsor.
They should be a sponsor. Yep. I need them for my heels.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe you should start looking at some of our corporate partners. We have, like Kinetrek makes boots that might not blister your feet.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be my next purchase.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, Shelly, we sure, congratulations on that cougar. That is a fantastic accomplishment. And
thank you.
You're bearing your grouse and everything else. And I just want to let you know how much we appreciate you spending some time with us today and getting your story out. I think it's one that people will appreciate. I know I surely did.
Yeah.
And maybe you can inspire some other folks out there, ladies, men, whoever it is, who haven't hunted their whole lives, who think, man, maybe this is something I should do. I highly recommend hunting.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't want to be wrong on this, but somebody was talking and they said it's amazing because I think we gave out 4 awards to women this year. And they said that's the most.
Yeah.
It might've been, was it 4 or was it 5? Either way, they said it was the most awards had ever been given to women in one conference, which is phenomenal. Because you girls are showing up and showing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, showing off, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because number ones, I think Michaela's was a number one elk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, it's funny because you look at that, in sports, it's, when you go to I'm watching the Olympics, you go to the track and field, well, there's a men's race and then there's a women's race. And, they're different. Well, here we make everybody compete on the same level playing field.
That's awesome.
And there's no women's category. There's just the winner, and the number one winner this year.
I love that. I love that. And that's my message too. My message is, just do it. If like a single mom, I didn't grow up with it, and to all the women out there, you can always do it. So if there's a will, there's a way, and you just make it happen and stay dedicated. And if it's your passion like mine, it's just a burning passion. And I'm just thankful that I was able to be strong enough just to do it, just to say, this is what I'm going to do.
Great. Well,
well,
we are definitely glad that you were able to do it, and appreciate you being here. Appreciate you coming to convention and telling people a little bit about that. We're excited to have everybody there. We want everybody to come check it out and see what it's about and be part of the family. And so thank you for being here, Shelly. Thanks for taking the time for the podcast, and best of luck coming up on your Africa trip. I know that's
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me too. It's been a wonderful experience. You guys are awesome. Thank you.